Well, good morning. Iowa's recovery is underway, and our collective work as Iowans to mitigate, contain, and manage virus activity in our communities is generating the type of results that enable us to ease restrictions, open businesses, and get our state back to work safely and responsibly. From the start, Iowans have risen to the occasion. We knew it would take all of us to limit the spread of COVID-19, protect the health of our most vulnerable Iowans and our essential workers, and manage our healthcare resources. Your actions have made that possible, and by continuing to practice personal responsibility in the same way that you are now, we can work together to keep the virus at a manageable level while at the same time moving forward with our lives. Our expanded testing and case investigation strategy also achieves that goal. Today, more Iowans are being tested in more ways, whether it's at their doctor's office, a drive-through Test Iowa site, or a community strike team initiative. Iowa has conducted 7,884 tests during the month of March, nearly 42,000 tests in April, and since May 1st, we have tested more than 60,000 Iowans. Our highest test day was May 12th, when 4,475 tests were reported in a single day, and in addition to that, more than 12,000 Iowans have had serology testing, as Dr. Badati talked about yesterday. Through the continued growth of Test Iowa, we can meet our full testing capacity, the capacity of 5,000 tests a day. I can't stress enough the importance of taking the assessment and testing. It's how we know where the virus is, how it's spreading, and what we can quickly do to contain it. Our ability to target the virus down to a zip code means that we can act with precision to identify and isolate positive cases, track and contain the spread, and keep things operating as normal. Since first easing mitigation restrictions and reopening some businesses on May 1st, and then further expanding some openings statewide on May 15th, Iowans have proven that they're willing and able to adapt to new ways of doing things in order to do the things that they enjoy. I've been so encouraged to hear from business owners across the state about the success that they've had since reopening their doors. Tom from Ames Fitness Center said that enforcing the business guidance from Department of Public Health wasn't even an issue. The members at his gym were already doing what they needed to do to protect themselves and others. They were just happy for the opportunity to come back, even if that meant under different circumstances. And that sentiment is shared by so many Iowans, perhaps none more that those who were long overdue for a haircut or a color. When salons and barbershops reopened last Friday, appointments booked out for weeks on end. Today, I've asked Mandy DeVries, owner of Fusion Salon and Spa in Davenport and recipient of a small business relief grant from the state, to share her COVID-19 story and how she's getting business back to normal. Hi, Mandy. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Governor, for having me today, for allowing me to speak. The news of our closure arrived for us at a significant time in our business as we were planning and preparing paperwork to remodel and expand our salon. Receiving word of our temporary closure brought a flood of emotions, as it did for many of us. I wondered what it meant for my employees, for our clients, and for the future of our salon company. So many things felt uncertain. But we quickly adapted to the things that we could control. We created new forms of communication for our team. We stayed connected with our staff by scheduling Zoom calls, posting frequently on our employee Facebook page, and personally called each of our team members regularly. At Fusion, we pride ourselves in investing in training for our staff. We regularly send them throughout the country for advanced education. To keep them engaged during this time, we were able to purchase online training courses that employees were able to complete from home. To keep our clients informed, we used social media platforms, created live videos, and sent emails and text messages. Together, our team created at-home customizable product kits to support our clients, such as our facial in a bag treatment and our curbside retail product pickup, as well as delivery. Fortunately, I was able to apply for the Iowa Small Business Relief Grant. This process, straightforward and easy. When I received the news that we were approved for the grant, I quickly rehired staff members that, for whatever reason, had not yet received unemployment. This provided not only financial reassurance for my employees that they would be taken care of, but equally important, it also provided them with a peace of mind that they would be able to take care of their own financial obligations. With the grant funds, we're also able to purchase the necessary products and supplies to ensure that we were fully stocked at the time when reopening came. We were able to work and sanitize the entire salon and implement ongoing enhanced sanitizing processes. We worked to create our reopening process, including installing plastic guards at our front desk, implementing social distancing guidelines for clients and service providers. We created space in between stations. We created additional stations for employees so that they could enable social distancing even while doing normal work functions like mixing up hair color or checking out clients, or when our employees viewed their schedules and contacted all of the clients waiting to reschedule their appointments. We expanded our hours and we created new schedules for our employees, allowing us to accommodate our clients and maintain a 50% capacity. Prior to opening, we held training sessions for our staff, and we implemented new service protocol and PPE guidelines for specific services. We created checklists for clients' arrival and outdoor signage directing guests to text us upon arrival, which enables us to manage traffic flow. We conducted a soft opening for the first few days. We solicited our guests' feedback and made modifications to our protocol and guidelines, enabling us to best serve the needs of our clients and staff members, while we continued to create an enjoyable experience for our clients. As of this Monday, we are fully operational with extended hours and staff members. We will continue to offer curbside pickup to support our clients that are waiting for appointments. And I can say confidently that our staff and clients are thrilled that we are open for business. Some of our clients have actually even shared that our salon is the first place that they have been since March, which speaks volumes to us in the importance of our industry. Clients are excited to be able to come to the salon, and they are thankful for the mitigation efforts that we have put in place to maintain social distancing and the health and safety of our guests and staff. And Governor Reynolds, I just want to say, on behalf of myself, my team, all of my clients, thank you so much to you and your team for all of the support that you have given the businesses in Iowa. Because of the relief grant, I have hope for the future of our company. And I'm thankful that I don't have to choose between investing in our staff and growing our business, but we can do both during this time. So once again, thank you so much for your leadership during this time, for supporting our business, and God bless you.
Oh, Mandy, thank you so much. That is so incredible, all that you've been able to do at Fusion Salon. And first of all, it's inspiring and it's innovative. And I think it is just so reflective of the Iowa spirit. And thank you so much for sharing your story and all the mitigation efforts that you've put in place to continue to employ your great staff and provide a phenomenal service to your customers. So thanks for your inspiring story. And I wish you nothing but the best. And I know how busy you are because I know that you are booked solid. So I really appreciate you taking the time to be a part of the press conference this morning. And just Iowans need to hear these inspiring stories, and they need to just, I think they know, but to just reinforce what businesses are doing across the state to really be responsible and measured as they start to open back up. So we're really grateful. So thanks for taking the time, and just best of wishes to you going forward. Thanks. Just like Mandy, business owners, as I just said, across Iowa are eager to get back to work. They understand and they accept the added responsibility to protect their employees and their customers. And I believe that Iowans are willing to continue to do their part as well, so that businesses and entertainment and activities can resume again, even if the rules of engagement are different for now. Today, I'm announcing that effective on Friday, movie theaters, zoos, aquariums, museums, and wedding reception venues will be permitted to reopen with appropriate public health measures in place and to ensure that proper social distancing and increased hygiene are taking place. Swimming pools will be reopening for lap swimming and swimming lessons. And next Thursday, May 28th, bars and other establishments that serve alcohol and have been limited to carry out and delivery will be permitted to reopen for indoor or outdoor seating at 50% capacity. And of course, they must follow the same public health measures and business guidance that restaurants have implemented. And effective June 1st, Iowa schools will be permitted to resume school-sponsored activities and learning. According to the appropriate public health precautions, this will include high school baseball and softball activities. The Department of Education Director Ann Liebel will be joining me tomorrow to share more details about resuming school activities. I know that many parents and youth athletes are also eager to resume summer sports. High school athletics was the logical place to start the process of bringing athletics back in season. We're working closely with the Iowa High School Athletic Association and others to make this possible. And together with the Department of Public Health, we're also working with youth sports associations to develop a plan to bring other sports opportunities back for the summer, and more will be coming on that next week. Over the next week, I'll also be working closely with the Department of Public Health to evaluate whether any other changes to our public health strategy should be made. And I expect to announce more details next week as we approach the end of the current disaster emergency proclamation on May 27th. As we discussed since last week, it's up to Iowans to decide when they're ready to resume normal activities. But it'll continue to take all of us working together and practicing personal responsibility to keep virus activity at a manageable level and balance the health and safety while with getting life and business back to normal. Memorial Day is celebrated as the official start of summer, and each year many Iowans look forward to a long weekend of camping, fishing, and other outdoor activities in our state and county parks. While COVID-19 may require that we enjoy these traditions a little differently this year, it's important that Iowans get back to spending their summer in the great outdoors, doing things that they love most. And I'm pleased to have Kayla Lyon, the Director of the Department of Natural Resources, here today to announce some changes that Iowa State Parks just in time to announce some of the changes at Iowa State Parks just in time for Memorial Day weekend. Hi, Kayla. It's good to see you. There are a lot of people that's eagerly awaiting your announcement today.
Well, good morning, Governor, and thank you for inviting me to be a part of your press conference this morning. And greetings from one of our rentable cabins at Pine Lake State Park in Eldora. Pine Lake is one of our 68 state parks in 4 forests that we manage at the Department of Natural Resources. While many of the areas and businesses of the states have been closed, and some are still closed to help curb the spread of COVID-19, outside has remained open. Iowans have been driven to explore our abundant natural resources. Folks are utilizing our state parks like never before and are discovering our natural areas close to home that they were previously unaware. We've heard numerous comments from our social media pages from people saying, I had no idea Ledges State Park existed. Aquabi is awesome. We won't take it for granted ever again. And how come I've never been here? And we've seen an abundant usage of our wildlife areas, particularly during spring turkey hunting season. The first 3 seasons of spring turkey, we sold 36% more tags than we did the previous year. And youth spring turkey was up 23%. Our lakes and waters are just as busy. Resident fishing licenses are up 46% from last year. Our staff worked so hard to provide these opportunities for Iowans, and I want to thank our staff for their passion and dedication. I know it's rewarding to all of us at the department to know folks are taking advantage of and appreciate all the great things our Iowa Natural Resources offer. That said, as you make plans for the Memorial Weekend, I encourage you to get out and explore, whether it be for a hike in a wildlife area or park, or fishing in our lakes and streams. While the weather is expected to cooperate and many people are antsy for a change in scenery, we are expected to see increased traffic in our natural places. We remind everyone to be safe, obey all laws and rules, including physical distancing guidelines, while you enjoy outdoors recreational activities. That said, I wanted to provide an update regarding our Iowa State Park campgrounds. I'm very pleased to announce that we will be opening all modern restrooms, shower buildings, and cabins at our Iowa State Park starting this Friday, May 22nd, in time for the Memorial Weekend. This means campgrounds will be open for all campers, including RVs, pop-ups, and tent camping. But campers will notice some stipulations. Youth group campsites will remain closed, as well as shelters, lodges, playgrounds, other group camps, museums, and visitor centers. And be mindful of a couple of things. In campgrounds, only campers with overnight reservations will be allowed, no visitors. Only campers occupying the individual campsite will be allowed to gather around the campfire, no guests or large groups. Only 6 overnight occupants per campsite will be allowed, unless the immediate family contains more than 6. Communal picnic tables and grills are open for use at your own risk. Beaches will remain open, and we will monitor them closely. It is our hope that we can revisit these restrictions as things evolve. We have been and will continue to be thoughtful when phasing in more park amenities in accordance with Iowa Department of Public Health and CDC guidelines to protect both our guests and our hardworking staff. Questions and information regarding the most up-to-date park information for each specific park can be found in our Iowa Department of Natural Resources Park website. As we highlight what our state parks have to offer, this year marks the 100th anniversary of our Iowa State Park system. Iowa's first state park, Backbone, was dedicated exactly a century ago in May of 1920. We had plans including hundreds of events throughout the state park, with the pinnacle celebration previously scheduled for next weekend at Backbone. Unfortunately, we've had to spend a lot of time talking about the things you can't do in a state park instead of the things you can. So as we continue to open up park amenities, we have a new sense of gratitude that arises for all the things that we intended to celebrate. Even though our centennial looks different than what we had initially planned, we have seen the last few weeks that Iowans have an overwhelmingly connection to the state parks and how they contribute to their physical and mental well-being. During this 100th anniversary celebration, we are still working hard to connect Iowans in other ways to our state parks, with the goals to celebrate, connect, and inspire. We celebrate the importance of state parks with Iowa's history, culture, and quality of life. We connect Iowans to natural resources in a personal and passionate way, and we inspire a high level of appreciation and stewardship of the Iowa State Park system for our future. You can find many ways to get involved with our centennial celebration on our website at iowadnr.gov/parks2020. As we continue during the 100th anniversary celebration, I want to personally invite you to visit our campgrounds in a state park. If you've never been, choose one close to home. If you're a frequent visitor to a specific park, choose one you've never visited. I promise you'll be surprised and pleased at the beauty and the fun you will find within our borders. Each park offers a unique, beautiful landscape, exceptional trails, water access, campgrounds, and many other outdoor recreational opportunities. They are beloved destinations for all of us. And generations of Iowa families have visited these very same national focal points in our parks. We hope that the 100th anniversary celebration helps shine a light on Iowa State Parks and their value to Iowa's quality of life and their importance for the next 100 years. In closing, we have seen how much of an integral role Iowa's natural resources have played in the lives of Iowans and others. We hope that our parks, public lands, and waters continue to be a great local escape and provide some physical and mental well-being and enjoyment for you, your friends, and your family, now during these unprecedented times and for decades to come. As you venture out this holiday weekend, we remind everyone to utilize our natural resources across the state and practice physical and social distancing. Be smart and responsible. Our park staff look forward to greeting you. I, too, will be out with my family doing that very thing, making memories in our state park. All of us at the Iowa Department of Natural Resources wish everyone a safe and enjoyable Memorial Weekend. Thank you, Governor.
Thanks, Kayla. I appreciate it very much, and I really appreciate the creative and innovative way that you and your team are really helping Iowans celebrate the 100th anniversary of our Iowa State Parks. I love the increased statistics that you talked about, how people are utilizing our natural resources, and I look forward to having you back again to share more about the great things that are happening in our parks to commemorate this important milestone. So thanks for all you're doing. I appreciate you and your team. I know you're working diligently to make sure that the parks are ready for Iowans, so thanks again for everything. And with that, we will open it up for questions.
All right, we're going to go to David Head, the Associated Press.
Oh, thank you, Governor. So I guess my question is, in light of the announcement you're making here, is what data signals to you that opening movie theaters, museums, and places where people obviously are going to be closer together should be open? I mean, we're still seeing a dozen deaths a day and 200 to 300 new positive tests on average.
Yep.
I guess I'm just wondering what you see that maybe we don't.
Well, because we are seeing a stabilization. We're not overwhelming our healthcare systems. We've demonstrated that we have the resources to manage any type of an uptick or a surge. And so as we start to, and we're seeing great trends. We're seeing our positivity rate go down. It was 14.1% today. Yesterday's average was 7.4%. We have 53% of Iowans that have recovered. Our days to double, which talks about the spread of the virus, is now at 22. And so as you heard from business owner after business owner, and this is just a small sample of what our businesses and Iowans are doing across the state. We have to move forward. We have to recognize the fact that the virus is in our communities, and we have to learn to navigate that until or if a vaccine is discovered. And Iowans are doing that, and we're being responsible in the way that we're doing that. So I believe that it doesn't have to be either or. We can protect the health of Iowans as well as their livelihoods and the health of our economy. And there are so many other factors that we have to balance also, whether that's the food insecurity on the uptick, domestic and child abuse. We don't have eyes on kids because we are not in school. You know, the additional uptick of suicides, mental well-being, families that are sitting there watching their livelihoods, evaporate, people that are losing their jobs. I mean, that is a part of the scenario. It's not this versus that. We have to be able to manage both and to do it in a responsible manner. And I believe in Iowans and I believe in our businesses. It's not a mandate. If they feel comfortable putting in place the mitigation efforts that they are and they feel that they're ready to reopen, they can. And the same thing with Iowans. If you feel comfortable going to your hair salon or to the gym or to a retail a business, then you can. But continue to practice the same things that we've been talking about forever. Yes, practice social distancing. Have a face covering in case you can't. If you're sick, isolate at home. And if you fall into the category that are most vulnerable, which are older adults and or individuals with underlying conditions, then you should still stay home and really limit your trips to make sure that they're for essential things. But we can continue to move forward and do it in a responsible manner, and we are.
Monica, Channel 13.
Hi, Governor. So with bars being able to reopen next Thursday, just last week I was talking to Des Moines police officers who patrol the Court Avenue area, and they were raising some concerns about once bars do reopen, how they're going to manage and enforce people with social distancing guidelines. As a lot of these people who are coming to the bars, they might have been drinking before and whatnot. I mean, how are people who are intoxicated, do you expect them to responsibly practice social distancing, and how should that be enforced?
Well, that's one of the reasons that it's been one of the last things that we started to open up. Again, it'll be at 50% capacity. It's going to be in conjunction with the Restaurant Association. They don't normally have to abide by the same health and safety requirements that our restaurants do, and so we're going to work with our business owners to make sure that they understand what the guidance is that the Department of Public Health will put out in conjunction conjunction with the CDC. We're going to, again, do it in a very limited capacity. They'll have to be seated. We're working on what those details look like right now. So we're not just going to, flip the switch or rip off the Band-Aid. We're going to move through this in a very responsible, measured manner, and then we're going to continue to watch the data to make sure that we're not seeing an uptick in virus activity, and we continue to do that on a daily basis. So we're going to work with our business owners. We're going to work with law enforcement, and they have said, they're going to educate Iowans. They're going to encourage them, if they're not meeting it, to meet the guidelines that are put in place, and as last resort, then they'll have to take that final action. But I believe, and we're all in this together, and I believe that Iowans can be responsible, and we can go out there and we can do this. You're going to always have somebody that doesn't fit, that doesn't abide by what they're supposed to do, but that applies to anything and everything. And so we need to just really continue to focus on what individuals need to be doing, continue to talk about personal responsibility, and the measures that we've been talking about, honestly, since we began in March with our first cases of COVID-19.
Zach, Channel 5.
Good morning. President Trump has said he's taken hydroxychloroquine as a preventative measure against the new coronavirus, despite no data yet on its effectiveness. And as we've seen, when the president approves of something, a portion of the population is likely to follow. So this might actually be more of a question for Sarah. Does the state of Iowa encourage Iowans to take the drug as a preventative measure against the new coronavirus? And if no, then why not?
Well, first of all, I think that that's a decision between the individual and their doctor. So that's a personal decision that Iowans will make in consultation with their doctor. Do you want to?
And the only thing additional that I would add is that that's not a recommended treatment at this particular point in time, and so it's not a recommendation of the State Health Department at this particular point in time.
Katarina, Iowa Public Radio.
Hi, Governor. As you continue to reopen things, why not put a bigger focus on face masks and face shields, as some public health experts are saying that that's really the way to drive down virus transmission as people are out in society more? Why not make that more mandatory or try to provide those to the public?
Well, we can do both. In fact, but first of all, it's in the Department of Public Health guidance. So all of the guidance that we provided for businesses in any of the facilities that are reopening, we talk about social distancing, we talk about good hygiene, we talk about limiting the capacity, we talk about having a facial covering with you. With the dental, when the dental offices opened up, face sheets and masks were a part of the parameters that the board put in place as they, again, started to phase in opening back up our dentist offices. So it's a part of the conversation. It has been from the very beginning. We've got great guidance that we're putting in place, and as you've heard, businesses are actually out in front of us. The same thing with the restaurants. When I talked to the Restaurant Association, they had already put a list of guidance and parameters in place that their members had self-imposed on themselves. So, these are their customers and their employees, and as I said earlier, a lot of times they're like family. So, of course, they're going to do everything that they can to protect those that they serve and to protect the employees that are really integral in their business continuing to operate and be successful.
Rod, Gazette, go ahead.
Thank you, Governor. I wasn't able to hear everything, so I wasn't sure if casinos were included in the list of reopenings you announced, but I assume at some point, if they weren't, that they will be.
Yep.
I'm wondering, will smoking still be allowed on the gaming floors? It seems like it would be difficult to smoke wearing a mask, and secondhand smoke sometimes can cause people to cough. Given that this is a public health emergency, I'm interested how you and your public health experts view this issue.
Well, first of all, again, they're not included in this declaration that I'm signing today. We're going to continue to work with them. We also have received information from the industry talking about how they're being very thoughtful and responsible in how they can, in a phased-in approach, if they're given the opportunity, start to open back up. So this is a discussion and a dialogue that they're having, and they've asked to reach out out to, or to have us connect them with the Department of Public Health, so together we can sit down and start to look at what that guidance looks like as we start to maybe give them the opportunity to begin to open back up. So, Rod, those are some of the discussions and conversations that they'll be having as they move forward, and as we work with them to put the guidance in place.
Nick at the register, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Governor.
Yep.
You mentioned that you're going to be watching for upticks in virus activity, and curious, what thresholds are you looking at that would make you consider kind of dialing the restrictions back up? And if we came to that situation, are you concerned that kind of doing the soft reopening signals that the dam's kind of already broken and you won't be able to put those restrictions back in place with acceptable following?
Yeah, so I think, we can manage it right down into a zip code, so we can start to see if there's a spike or maybe a cluster that we need to get some more information on. What we've been able to do with the Test IO and with the data that we're collecting through the assessments too, it really gives us some insight into where we might see some potential spikes or potential cluster of increased virus activity, and that really informs us to where we need to move our Test Iowa sites and our strike teams. So right now we have 8 Test Iowa sites that are located around the state. We have 9 strike teams that are located around the state, so that we can continue to do additional testing and really monitor what we're seeing throughout the state. And so that'll be a part of the discussion too. And it's about educating, it's about identifying, it's about, and probably one of the bigger components of it actually is the case investigation, because that really allows us to really drill in and see what's the scope, what are we looking at as far as the potential, and start to isolate those that are testing positive, get them on the road to recovery, so that we can really mitigate and manage additional virus activity and spread.
Ed, radio review, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, Governor. Excuse me, I'm multitasking here. So did I hear you mention that casinos are included in this latest proclamation that will take effect next week?
They are not.
They are not. Okay, thank you. I didn't hear you mention about amusement parks. Adventureland would be in full swing this weekend with their full schedule. And my question is, if amusement parks are in this latest proclamation, how do you monitor social distancing when you're riding rides that close together?
Yeah. So they're not in the declaration that I signed today, but they are also looking at ways and have reached out protocols, that mitigation efforts that they're putting in place, so that they can again have an opportunity to open back up and do it in a safe and a responsible manner. We've got to learn to live with this. It is not going away. We can, in fact, protect the health and well-being of Iowans, as well as the livelihood of Iowans and the health of our economy. So, they are being very thoughtful in how, how they move forward, how we move forward. And so, again, we'll work in collaboration with them to see what makes sense and how we can, again, phase in additional reopenings of businesses across the state of Iowa.
2 more questions. Second to last, Caroline Cummings.
Good morning, Governor. University of Iowa experts in their update they sent to your office dated May 4th said that reopening that began May 1st could possibly lead to an increase, but the full effects of reopening are not expected to be observed for several weeks. Of course, there's been subsequent reopening since that May 1st phase 1. So just to reiterate what the Register asked, is there at any point that you would consider closing businesses again, or is that entirely off the table?
No, I'm not saying that at all, but I think there's other things that we can put in place that really allows us to manage and control virus activity across the state. And it's about educating, it's about getting in front of it, it's about understanding the scope of the virus activity through the case investigation. And so those are all things that we can take a look at. I appreciate what the University of Iowa, the public health, the information that they've provided. That's modeling. It's based on assumptions and projections at a certain point in time, and we are able, actually the Department of Public Health and the epidemiologist team are able to use real-time data based on the assessments that we're taking and some of the proactive, aggressive testing that we've done with not only our long-term care facilities, but our manufacturing and processing facilities has allowed us to get in front of what could be a potential spike spike that potentially could cause a surge on our healthcare systems. We're not seeing that at all. So we'll continue to monitor that, and if we feel that there is there potentially could be a surge that would impact not only our communities and Iowans, but our hospital system and their ability to take care of COVID patients as well as other Iowans who need to utilize the hospital, then we will make accommodations accordingly.
Last question, KCCI.
Hi there, Governor. There was recently, speaking of University of Iowa, a study from them published in the Journal of the American Medical Association that concluded that Iowa not doing a stay-at-home order compared to the border counties of Illinois, they kind of did Quad Cities comparison there, meant an increase in cases. Was curious if you all have seen that study and what your response to it would be.
No, they look at different studies, but again, they're models. It's based on assumptions. We're looking at real-time data and making our decisions based on what we're seeing that's happening in the state of Iowa. And again, trying to be proactive. We've increased the amount of testing that we're able to do. I think, what did we say? We've gone from testing in March, 7,884 Iowans. In April, we were able to test 42,000 Iowans. And since May 1st, we've had more than 60,000 Iowans that have been tested. I showed you the map. We're putting Test Iowa sites all over the state. We're doing strike teams in addition to that. And we're working on putting together a testing strategy that we can roll as we continue to move through the summer and into the fall. And actually, we'll be able to use Test Iowa, the data, to even gather information when we move into the flu season. So, we've tested 1 in 29 Iowans, so we're going to continue to build that out, continue to collect real-time data, continue to protect the health and safety of Iowans, and begin to continue to open up our economy. So, thank you.